Recently got the chance to talk to Dr. Scott Ackerman about a problem that a lot of us are facing, and that's not getting enough sleep every day. With the busy lives that we lead, it's no surprise. But did you know that a lack of sleep can actually have a very serious health implication on our life?
I did know. I'm probably in trouble, so let's hear the details.
We all know that getting a good night's sleep is important to our overall health, but what happens when our normal sleep patterns are disrupted? Can these disruptions lead to disease? Dr. Scott Ackerman, one of the First Coast's leading oncologists, is joining us today, as he does every Friday, to talk about important health issues such as that. Dr. Ackerman, thanks so much for being here. Okay,
good to be here, Casey.
So let's dive into this new research related to sleep. What's it telling us?
So there's been some new research that has shown that there's a relationship between disrupted circadian rhythms and disease. Now, circadian rhythms are associated with sleep, and we'll get to that in a second. But
Sure.
circadian rhythm is your natural body's rhythm. We have it, animals have it, plants have it. It's our natural rhythm, a 24-hour cycle that affects our physical behavior, our mental behavior. It just affects our hormones, our body temperature, and it influences. It's influenced by the sleep-wake cycles.
So who is at risk for this then rhythm disruption? Anybody?
Well, normally, people that have regular jobs, students that are on a regular schedule, don't really have a problem because you go to sleep around the same time of day and you wake up at the same time of day, and your day is, so that's how it works for most people. They're on a fairly regular rhythm, they have a fairly regular sleep pattern. But there are people that inherently, because of their job perhaps, that could be affected by this disruption of their circadian rhythm. People like nurses, because nurses sometimes work night shift, they work the day shift. These shift workers like nurses and doctors and policemen. A lot of physicians, myself and my colleagues, frequently we get phone calls at night. We have to go to the hospital at night to see patients, and that interrupts our sleep cycles. My friends that are surgeons, their life is runs havoc
the
on them.
unpredictability, I'm sure, is a huge factor.
Right, because they go in the middle of the night for all sorts of emergency surgeries sort of things. There's also other people that are what we call social jet laggers. When you go from one time zone to another, you get a disruption of your circadian rhythm. Well, some people are on a regular schedule from Monday through Thursday. Then come the weekend, they're up till 3 in the morning, and they sleep till noon, and we call that social jet lag. And so they have a normal regular schedule in the weekdays, and the weekends gets disrupted. All these sort of people have disruption of their circadian rhythm, disruption of their sleep cycle, and that makes them more prone to certain diseases.
Okay, well, let's get into that, because how then can these disruptions lead to disease? I mean, I understand fatigue, but it can get far worse than that.
There was a study that came out recently from Rush University, it's in Chicago, and it showed that there's a link between these disrupted circadian rhythms in people that have a high-fat diet, and it can lead to certain inflammatory changes within the within the body. These inflammatory changes are associated with heart disease, or associated with inflammatory bowel disease and some other neurological disorders. And we can measure these inflammatory changes in the body with certain blood tests. A lot of my patients I do a certain blood test on occasion to look for inflammatory changes. There's a blood test called C-reactive protein that doctors can do, or the ESR, which is erythrocyte sedimentation rate, or the SED rate. And these are related to inflammatory changes in the body. And these inflammatory changes can put you at higher risk for certain diseases.
So what else, a lack of sleep, what are the other ramifications that it can have on our health if we're not getting good night's sleep and getting into that circadian rhythm?
Besides these changes, these inflammatory changes, there's other things that poor sleep habits predispose you to. People with poor sleep habits, if they're not shift workers or these social time laggers, you could have problems with your sleep cycle because you're depressed. A lot of people that have problems, they're up at night thinking, they get depressed, and then they don't sleep right, and that just leads to more problems because they're not sleeping right, they can't stay awake during the day, and it's just a vicious cycle. And people that are depressed and have poor sleep habits also have obesity, they gain weight, they can have stroke, they have diabetes, high blood pressure, these sort of things.
It's amazing. Just all this from sleep. So if someone's watching right now and they're thinking to themselves, I don't get great sleep, what are some of the things that they should be doing to make sure that their circadian rhythm is right on track?
We've talked about this before. Here we've talked about sleeping, and the different types of sleep, the REM sleep and good quality sleep. Sleep is not a passive process. Sleep is an active process where your body is healing itself, it's rejuvenating itself. So I strongly recommend that people set a good sleep-wake schedule. Make sure you you go to bed around the same time every night. You could vary it by an hour or so and get up every morning about the same time. Again, you could vary it by an hour or so. Reduce your exposure to light when you're in bed. You know, we get all caught up with our Kindles and our iPads and all these things.
Television, it's all in the bedroom.
Right, all in the bedroom. Don't eat before you go to bed because your stomach's still grumbling. You're not going to get good sleep. Don't exercise right before you go to sleep because you're going to have a lot of adrenaline going on. You're not going to be able to sleep right away. You know, sleep used to be a real simple thing. Yeah. But it's not so simple anymore. We have a lot of distractions in our lives, and I think that we have a lot of distractions. We need to focus on our health, not focus on these distractions, and we'll all be better off for it.
Yeah, this is so amazing. I got to think about getting more sleep. It's like the stress from I need to get more sleep, and then, you know, I can't get sleep because I'm stressed out thinking about sleep. Some people are like that. Thanks.
Not necessarily more sleep, but regular sleep schedule.
Good sleep. All right, thanks so much, Dr. Ackerman. Appreciate you being here, and thanks for coming every Friday and sponsoring this segment. For more information or any questions regarding today's topic, any other health questions that you may have, you can visit Dr. Ackerman's Facebook page, facebook.com/First Coast Oncology.